Yo, what's happening? This is the Hurricane. We give you a little prelude into what's going on here in the Podcast City Studios. But tonight, very special edition because we have not one, but two shows for you. The first one is Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury 3. The battle. I'm not sure where this fight is taking place. It's in L.A., I think this fight is happening, right?
I think it's in Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena from what I saw.
Is that where it is?
99%.
It's going to be real interesting wherever it is, man. I'm going to tell you something right now. It's not Ali Frazier 3. It's not the Thriller Manila. But it's the closest thing that we have where there has been two highly competitive fights already by both gentlemen. It's Tyson Wilder 3. There's some interesting subplots. They are two of the biggest guys that I've seen fight one another in a long time. I mean, you got the dimensions on these guys, right?
Fury 6'9". This was.
Can you imagine boxing somebody 6'9" who moves like that guy does?
You need the stop punch from Mike Tyson's punch out just to reach his chin.
Yeah.
6'9". His weight going as of the last fight was 273. They haven't had the weigh-in yet for this fight, I don't believe. Wilder 6'7", 231 pounds with a punch that is comparable to Mike Tyson. There's very few humans.
One of the great knockout punches in heavyweight history. I didn't say one of the great fighters.
No,
I said one of the great one-punch knockout guys in the business. Absolutely. And if he wins, that's what I think it ultimately is going about. But that's a big if, because let's go to Tyson and Fury 1. Okay, that was a fight. I don't think that a lot of people were expecting much for Fury. Even though he had beaten Klitschko, right? Deontay Wilder was the first American champ. Okay, he was being trained by a friend of ours.
Yeah.
Peter Corey.
Yep.
He was in the utmost condition, personal trainer, trained my brother to get ready for the NBA. Fall River guy down there. Former professional athlete.
I
I do
did not
Hall
know
of
that.
Famer. Oh, yeah.
Did not know that.
Peter Corey trained Deontay Wilder.
Fall River connection. Yeah, absolutely.
Certainly. But, right? He was let go.
Well, boxing as historically, it's a
and not just him was let go.
No,
Mark Breland.
Mark Breland's no longer.
Who had a bigger management position with him than anybody else that got let go. But up until Wilder won the title, it was Peter Corey and Mark Breland that were doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
That's 100% correct. Yeah,
Peter was doing all the physical training.
Absolutely.
Turned his career around,
Peter
strength and
conditioning. He had him doing some stuff that hadn't been utilized in boxing, and he was training them for I believe two and a half years.
And look up Mark Breland. Mark Breland was the Sugar Ray Leonard after Sugar Ray Leonard, who was a champion, Olympic gold medalist. Had a bad loss, I believe, to lose the title and trying to get into the business of boxing instead, which a lot more boxers do instead of staying around too long and getting beat up. We certainly saw that with the Ali documentary that we watched, and we'll try to weave that in there as well. But so Wilder is coming in with a full head of steam. Fury's an underdog, and essentially, the first fight was an unbelievable fight. But up until that knockout and even after, I thought Fury was winning that fight convincingly.
According to what was happening in the first fight was that Wilder was behind in that fight.
I believe he was.
Late into the later rounds of the fight.
And then the knockout.
And then he caught him. And when he caught him, when Deontay Wilder catches you, the way you catch somebody square, you're usually done.
Sure.
I think he had, 36 or 37 knockouts. I don't know what the number is out of 40 fights.
Yeah.
So
caught him late. I believe it was in the second to last round. They knocked him out real late into it.
So when you're a guy that's used to seeing guys not get up, I wonder what his mindset would have been when you see this guy 6'9", standing up, putting the gloves down, and he looks at the referee's eyes, and then the referee's like, "Okay, let's go."
And then won the rest of the round.
And then won the rest of the round.
I mean, isn't that Jimmy? What every bully gets, like the first time the outcome doesn't go how it's used to or is planned, you say, "Oh shit!"
So what's going?
The Gypsy King,
in the moment,
6 foot
in
fucking
the moment,
9, 6'9". I'm gonna stand right there, Rob, because that's what Tyson Fury would look like out of the picture. 6'9" monster. Does like a back kick, gets up, and is like, "Hey, Mace, let's go get a pint and let me finish this fight."
So in the moment,
Crazy.
I'd love to know what was going through his mind, Wilder's mind in that moment.
Sure.
Now, does he get enraged, or does he get defensive? What does he come back?
There's definitely going to be a pause, Jimmy. What do you think?
They don't show that stuff on the movies, right? You knock the bully out, the bully stays out. In real life, the bully gets back up, and you go a few more rounds.
We go, but Wilder was the bully because he was knocking people out and he was losing that fight. And I think when he hit him and he went down, Wilder was like, "Oh shit, I survived. My punching power bailed me out again." And he gets, but Fury gets back up. I did not think that fight was a draw. I thought that Wilder won. I do understand it being a draw because of the knockout for Wilder. So that's the outs I'll give the referee on that one.
It was. I guess they call it I'm by no means an expert in boxing. I'm a casual fan like everybody else. I guess they call it a split draw, where one referee had one guy winning, the other referee had another guy winning, and the third referee did not make a determination to
really?
Had it as a draw, from what I recall.
Yeah. So Fury won the first one, right?
No, Fury
got beat.
First fight was a draw.
Yeah,
but a lot of people believe that Fury should have been.
I was going to play my corruption angle.
That Wilder, because of the knockouts, got a draw out of that fight.
Usually, to get that third fight, there's like shenanigans. One guy wins the first one, and then something happens, and they all want that third one.
But this is why this fight is going to be so big, because the two fights were real good fights. Okay, and that's why people are going to be paying attention. And then you get the previews, and we're going to talk about that. So, so it's a split decision. Tyson, America's favorite heavyweight, turns from Deontay Wilder to the Gypsy King from Manchester, England, Tyson Fury. His style, his way, his manner. He's a true man of the people. His fans absolutely love him and adore him. He's got a great sense of humor. He's great on the microphone. He's 6'9", but has the feet of a ballet dancer. Make no mistake about this, people. Don't get it twisted, okay? Muscles and all that stuff do not make you a great athlete. I don't think that Deontay Wilder is a great natural athlete. I do, in fact, know for sure that Tyson Fury is. And when you combine that size, speed, athleticism, and the toughness, and the rough life he's lived, and all the baggage he's left behind, that makes for a very tough out, and a guy who it's going to be tough to knock him off his ground.
Well, I think you hit on it as far as the style of Wilder. He's more of a mechanical style boxer, comes straight forward with the punch and power. He's a more aggressive boxer because he's going in there with the
wants to overpower you.
Yeah, mentality to overpower you. So now,
but very difficult to do to somebody who's 6'9".
So now, but his mentality was that going into the first fight. So going into the second fight now, which he obviously wasn't in great condition, it didn't look like from what happened with him.
He complained that he lost the fight on the way because his robe was 75 pounds.
Yeah, it was that, and then there was allegedly some comments that he believed somebody put something in his. I mean, it was just absurd.
You know what Mike Tyson told him? You know what Mike Tyson said? He said, "I worry about Deontay Wilder because he reminds me of a young me, a young, immature, reckless me, and he's got to get right with himself. This is boxing. Anybody can get beaten every time. Okay, if you're a million off, and so stop talking about the wardrobe." Stop talking about your management and your trainer.
Get down to business,
It can happen, but until you shed those crutches and excuses, right, you're not going to make any personal development or get to the level that you need to be.
You better win now, too. You made all the excuses. You lose again. What are you going to do now?
We got that. This is, Fury can afford to lose this fight to set up a fourth one. Wilder's
cannot. Legacy is riding on this fight. I agree with that.
That's exactly what I have.
I agree with that.
This is important for Deontay Wilder.
But here's the thing about the second fight, like you just touched on. Now, going into that second fight, Fury's now, any fear he had, if he had any in the first fight, is gone. And now
he took his biggest punch. He went the distance.
And he said he was going to come right out and go after Wilder.
He had never gone the distance
fight.
before. You know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But he said, I'm coming right out and I'm coming right after him, which he did in the second fight. He just came right out. He wasn't hesitant.
He said he was going to beat him up.
And he did, and he backed it up.
Yeah, so. He beat him up. Go ahead.
Has there ever been I don't remember in history, like four times someone fought?
I don't know.
You know what? That's a good question. I really don't.
Didn't Jake LaMotta and Sugar Ray Robinson fight?
That might have been one that might have been.
I'd like to see Gotti and Ward go out.
Knock me down, Ray.
Wow, that was.
That's what he says, right, LaMotta?
Yeah.
Right? In the contender, is that what he says? You got that? Raging Bull.
Bull.
You didn't knock me down, Ray.
But they didn't stop fights back then, Mike.
No.
You know how that was back then. If you watch that movie, that was.
That's interesting. But as far as super fights go, that's a great point, Jim, about that. We'll look that up and talk about it on the sports show when we can. But like I said, a lot of hype for this fight because the first two good ones are big. And let's face it, in boxing, the world likes two big guys going at it that have the ability to knock each other out. I wouldn't call Fury a knockout puncher, but any man that size certainly has the capability. Deontay Wilder, I would call a knockout puncher. And that's where I worry because of, Fury could dominate this fight like he was in the first one, right? And like he did the second one, and just get caught.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because Wilder it's bad to rely on that as a heavyweight fighter. But if the bottom line is he's got that one parachute that can save himself from a plane going down.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Where anytime at the right time, it's 30, look at me, it is 30 pounds of pressure on the button and it's lights out. You cannot lift any weights for this. You cannot take any steroids for this.
Nope.
Okay? You can't train your way into this. It is 30 pounds of pressure right here. That's why they call it the button. And if Wilder hits you on the button,
you can probably go to sleep.
You know what I mean? Lights out. Scientifically, lights out.
I remember George Foreman catching, when he won that title the last time, Michael Moore.
That is a great analogy.
He caught him with
Michael Moore winning 9 out of 10, 11 rounds. You know what I mean? And then George Foreman just pops him on the button and lights out. And that's why heavyweight fights is so intriguing. This one will be. I think people are saying, if this is a boxing match, we already know who's going to win that. Fury's going to dominate. But there's always the but. I know what the but means. Ching, 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 ching. Because the but puts asses in the seats.
It's the hook.
The pay-per-view.
It's the hook to it.
It's the big right hand that's going to do the damage.
You mentioned Foreman. I was doing some research on Wilder last night. He's been consulting. He's not part of any part of his training or whatsoever, but he has been in consulting and been talking with George Foreman. So
two black men from the deep South, right?
Yeah.
Well, Foreman was from Houston. Okay. But still SEC country down there. Okay. They're down there. They probably got a lot in common. They got a lot of kids. Okay. They the heavyweight championship. They were always. But think about them mythically, right? They were always bigger, right? And what were they both known for? Being what? Great punches.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. George Foreman,
Foreman and Wilder have a lot
It's a good comparison.
of similarities.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it's interesting to see that. From my instincts, now listen to me, I swore to God, I would never get influenced by an ESPN highlight reel or a Showtime boxing infomercial for 30 minutes about the fight. Because, of course, they're going to show the best that's in their best interest. But looking at Wilder, he looks a little leaner. He looks a little more focused, okay? If you remember in the pre-fight hype with two, Fury rented this house in the desert, and he only had his trainers and his people there, girlfriends,
keep
no wives.
Keep the distractions
Wilder
away.
had all his people around him.
Yeah, distractions.
It was much different. It was much business. Now, but because Mark Breland was going to stop that Wilder fight, okay, or did stop it or whatever, he was fired.
Okay.
He was fired immediately after. Hold on one second, I'm getting there. Okay? He's fired out there. Now, we have a wild card. Now, his new trainer and #1 boxing guy is a guy he knocked out in less than a minute early in his career. So what type of credentials this guy's working with him, and then they got another heavyweight, a guy who's trained some heavyweight fighters working with him as well too. But we really don't know about this new management team, not of the money, but of the fighter.
The training portion.
The training portion of it. We don't know much about that.
Okay, first, let me go back into the Mark Breland situation with the throwing in the towel, okay? I looked online last night, and they interviewed some of the top trainers in boxing. Buddy McGirt. I mean, like I said, I'm not a big boxing guy. I'm just going basically.
He had big courage to do that.
Buddy McGirt, all the top, every top guy that commented on what happened in that fight said that they absolutely 100% agreed that they would have done the exact same thing.
He was defenseless. Absolutely. Yeah, sure.
So Mark, for him to part ways with Pete Corey and to part ways with Mark Breland was, and it's just an opinion, was a complete mistake on his part.
Dance with the people that got you there.
Bingo.
You know what I mean? And the last thing you want to be removing is a strength and conditioning coach. And the last thing you want to be removing is, and the boxing will probably don't even know this. So check us out at BADCATZ. And we'll let you know. And you don't want to use somebody who is get rid of your boxing trainer, especially somebody as credentialed as Mark Breland is as well. But it is what it is. It's a heavyweight fight. I don't think Deontay Wilder is gonna win by is gonna have a 75-pound robe and take 15 minutes to get into that again.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. You're wearing that thing into the ring. You know, at any point, take it off. You take one step, it's too big. You put it on, take it off.
And let me ask you a question, guys, because this is gonna go into something else. Okay? Doesn't this kind of speak towards the potential weak mind and easily influenced Deontay Wilder that people think they tried to guard him? They tried to guard him from. You know what I mean? Like, listen, you're a grown-ass man. You know, don't tell me that somebody else created that robe, signed off on that robe, and surprised you with that robe. Okay? You sound like a fool. You know what I mean? You know, if you're gonna bullshit, come up with a better lie than that, because that was the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
And you're wearing it.
So
take it off. It's too heavy.
To go fight under lights and temperature and all the bullshit. You know, certainly not what you want to do by any stretch of imagination. Also, you know, it's time, you know, for him to show a little maturity. It's time for him to be the underdog again. It's time to do it now. Does that take him back on top? Or does that, now that his invincibility is gone and he's lost a little something, is he going to be strong enough to get by that? Okay? That's the $1 million question. But let me ask you a question, right? How many bullies, okay, bounce back from getting beat better than they were before? Mike Tyson certainly did it.
No, I was just going to bring that up.
Sonny Liston certainly did it. George Foreman certainly did it. He was out of the game quickly after that. There's a psychological component to this, right?
Without a doubt.
You know what I mean? So I think Fury's a gypsy. You know, gypsies live in England. They're fucking crazy. They're wild.
He's got a big backstory.
He's the gypsy king, a drug addict, an alcoholic, all of it. Crazy family, all kinds of bullshit. Like, I mean, people talk about our trailer parks here. Go to a gypsy trailer park in Manchester United. Good luck. You're gonna come out bare ass and broke.
What's that movie with Brad Pitt?
Yeah, that's what it is.
I forget the name. A pikey. He's a pikey.
He's a pikey.
Yeah,
the only thing I worry about with
it was an Irish gypsy in England. That's exactly what it was. What is the name of that? Rob, can we look that up? That Brad Pitt movie with the
it'll come to me.
The only thing you worry about with Fury is, did the success go the money and the success go? You remember Roberto Duran when he beat Sugar Ray Leonard? He did not train for the next fight.
How many times we talked about surviving success on the show? Yeah. Let me tell you something. A long time ago, smart man by the name of Jerry Tarkanian, one of the great all-time winners. Snatch, yeah. One of the great all-time winners of all time said to me, Mike, you got to remember, once you get paid, it's a lot harder to get out of bed with a model in satin sheets.
That's Marvin Hagler's line. That was Marvin Hagler's line.
You know what I mean?
That's a really good one, actually.
It's tough to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and do the road work when you're waking up in silk sheets. Marvin Hagler.
You know what I mean? And there's another flip to that. It's like, let me tell you something. It's a lot harder to get motivated when the fridge is full. Okay? And when the fridge is full and the bank account's full and you get all this press. But let me tell you something, Deontay Wilder. If you do not win this fight tonight, you're going to find out that fullness in your refrigerator, in your bank account ain't going to last forever. Okay? And all those people that are around you, we'll see how many of them are around too, because they're not around.
Yeah, they'll have the fourth fight when they're 55 years old.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the way it's going.
Well, getting back to Deontay for 1 second. Now, you hit on the fact that he's coming in here with a guy that he knocked out as his trainer, bringing him into this fight.
Well, there's a heavyweight trainer that I Rock something. I think I know. I've seen him around before. I'm not sure what his name is.
So
we probably could have been a little better prepared for this. I wish we would have had the trainer's name. But there was a new vibe, new mode, and watching it, it seemed like he was working hard.
Well, what I saw...
I always go to the weight, Birdie, because the weight don't lie.
Okay.
You know, if you're working hard, you're dropping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he looked leaner.
Well, that's why I want to see the weigh-ins usually a day or two before the fight, right?
He looks leaner to me.
Yeah, so I want to see what weight he's going to come in.
Yeah.
231 was his weight for the last fight.
Yeah.
Is his strategy going to be to bulk up a little bit to get
I
in
don't know,
with this guy?
but he looked fit to me.
If he's already got the power, he doesn't need to bulk up, you would think. Right?
Well, he got pounded in that last fight, though.
His reach is like crazy, like almost 90 inches or something like that.
I mean, and if you've seen the body shot that he got hit with in the fight that incapacitated him in that last fight, too. So, I mean... I don't know. From what I read yesterday was that he wants to come into this fight. His strategy is to try to box this fight, not to come in as the aggressor like he normally does.
You do not want to box.
That would explain the weight loss,
Gypsy King.
I'm just saying, you have to have a strategy coming into this fight.
There definitely was an emphasis on footwork in this camp.
Yeah, yes.
I watched it. Too bad we missed that last night because we could have watched that.
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to see it.
No, there's definitely an emphasis on footwork.
But there has to be a revision in his strategy coming into this fight. You would agree with that?
No, I would try to run through Fury and knock him out.
Really?
Play to your strength.
I don't know.
Let me tell you something now. In sports, the quickest way to success is play to your strengths. You impose your game plan on them. You think you can dance around? That guy's like Muhammad Ali. Have you seen a big man move?
Not a guy that size.
Since Muhammad Ali like that.
But we don't see big guys like this. This is something new that we never.
Ali was a big guy, 6'4", but not 6'9".
Not like this. That's what I'm saying. Not like this. Not 270. I mean, what was Ali at his heaviest? 230 maybe.
I don't know. But so you think that Wilder? You think Thor? And Wilder, you want him to fold like a butterfly and sting like a bee against the Gypsy King, Birdie?
He's got to come up with some type of different strategy, Mike. That's all I'm saying.
I say come at him and try to knock him out.
Well, if what you're saying is true and he wants the box, and what you're saying is true and he looks like he's leaner, it would explain the...
Sure.
It would explain
him
the shiftiness.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And his footwork.
Well, the fitness is essential to any of it, but you're right. If he's working on that footwork, he's working for. I think he's working on the footwork not to get hit as much because Fury hit him whenever he wanted to.
Yes, yeah.
And I would not be surprised if Fury knocked him out in the second or third round.
Oh.
But I'm worried about the focus in Fury's camp. You want me to tell you so? Want me to tell you why?
Never trust the Gypsy.
Okay. Listen, the most foul six-letter word in the English language. Five-letter word. COVID.
Good point.
Coming off of COVID.
Good point.
This fight has been postponed.
You're right.
And you know how the Irish on English, they want their soccer hooligan fans in the boxing matches singing his name with the Union Jack. Rock and roll, but yet his fight fans having a problem flying to the United States.
But I think
because of COVID.
But I think he's got a lot of support here, though, too. To be honest with you, Mike. Maybe not from his own country.
Yeah, but he wants his people there, man.
No, I agree. But
do they know how to sing the song?
Yeah, they don't know how to sing.
So as of this fight, too, I couldn't find out if Freddie
Rob,
Roach.
Can we look up something about Tyson Fury's plea to President Biden?
Freddie Roach.
It was a news story yesterday.
I don't know if he's back with him now, too. I didn't get to look at all this up last night. If Freddie Roach is going to be with him, training him this fight.
Well, you said you were doing all kinds of. I thought you had a thing from A to Z, Birdie.
I missed Z. I got down to A to X, Y. I missed Z.
Do we have the gypsy? How they think about getting vaccinated and all that stuff? Is that why they're having? Is that why they're having a hard time getting in? Gypsies don't want to be vaccinated.
That's a great angle on it.
I would think.
I can understand why African Americans don't want to get vaccinated more than anybody because we use it to experiment on certain vaccinations. So that's a whole other component again, and continues to be an underlying story to the way we live our lives, all the way to the other end of the spectrum, to watching this heavyweight fight because it's an issue.
It says here, WBC heavyweight champion makes a final plea to U.S. government to lift travel restrictions for UK fight fans.
Well,
WBC and lineal heavyweight champion Tyson Fury has made a last-minute plea to U.S. President Joe Biden to lift America's travel ban.
Do you want to be worried about that a couple of days before the fight?
He's already thinking about it. It's already in his kitchen.
That's why I'm a little concerned. And the COVID. And the delay. And I don't know. And another thing I like from Wilder, he is shutting out the white noise, Birdie. Tell us how he's doing it in the press conferences and the tour.
One press conference where he's coming in like Marshawn Lynch would be to the press, and he's got headphones on like we do with music playing.
Love that.
He's not acknowledging Fury at all, and he's kind of just zoning everything out. And he's just said, "I'm going to let my what I do in the ring do the talking." So
I like that. I like that from Wilder.
you can keep the
Don't
distractions
waste that
away.
energy. The Gypsy King wants to get you spinning.
Yeah,
because that's how he's going to take you all at.
He wants to play a
that's
mind
how he's
game.
going to knock
That's
you
a mind
out.
game
He wants
most boxers
of course.
play before a fight. Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. So
Sure. It's going to be I'm excited for this. When are we watching it anyway?
I don't know. Saturday night, right?
What are they charging for it?
I don't even know. I can't get it. If I could get here, I'd get it.
I think it's $80 for the fight. I'm not even sure what channel it's on.
My brother will have it for sure. Maybe we'll have to take a trip down there. Okay, are we ready for predictions? How much time we do that for, Rob?
32 minutes.
Okay,
32 minutes, 15 seconds.
Are you ready? We ready for predictions?
I didn't know we were going to make predictions, but let me give the odds on the fight first.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Before we do,
Let's get to what's really
I
important.
thought it would be a low odd fight, but I was a little surprised that Tyson Fury's minus 270 for the fight and Deontay Wilder plus 220 money line fight.
Actually, who gets that 50% in between? Who gets that? I wonder where that goes.
I'll tell you one thing on that angle though. If Wilder's a knockout puncher, right? Can you live bet this in like the 8th round?
Oh, I will. Yeah, I'm sure you could.
So let's say Wilder's getting his bag kicked in. Like, why wouldn't you live bet? Take a shot on that. Take a shot on the knockout.
Brady, tell me what I did yesterday to secure my bet, please.
Last night we were watching the Monday night football game, the Raiders and the Chargers, and Mikey had a bunch of bets on the Chargers that he needed to
for parlays.
So when they were up 21-0 at halftime, I'm basically told Mikey, look and see what the money line is to ensure you bet.
Oh, hell yeah.
Raiders come back.
Hedging.
We're up 21-0.
ABH. Always be hedging.
It was. I thought it was like about 10, 12 to 1. It was 15 to 1. So he goes, let's go up there.
Why not just put some like extra
30
money
bucks
in your pocket? Like
make
exactly.
450. So this way it covers your bets.
100%.
And then,
but a live bet, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
I've been live betting for a year. I've been telling you about that, Michael.
If he's
Well,
getting
they
his
won't
back
have the
kicked
game
in.
at Twin River. They won't have to fight at Twin River.
What do you mean? As far as
The
the
Tyson Wilder fight, they won't have it there.
Not this one, right? Because the TV.
No, it's
that's awful.
pay-per-view. I don't know.
walk you through
I don't know.
them straight
Some
over
places
there.
have it, some don't. I don't know. They might have it.
A place like that, if you don't have it, then you're just.
Well, the problem is up
whoever's
there-
running it needs to be fired.
Yeah. Of
Up
course.
there, though, they're not paying $80 for that fight. That's going to cost them a
Sure,
venue
big
like that.
money,
That's, So
But listen, but box promoters, that's why, like, they never pay for like the arena because you know what their fans are gonna do? Okay, so you got to pay per head, $20 per head, But you don't think they're going to drop $20 in a slot machine?
Yeah,
or
no,
poker
absolutely.
table? One guy's going to drop $2,000.
If I'm just up there gambling and they say $20, yeah, I'd come in there and pay $20 to watch it up there and then go back to gamble. Yeah,
guys walking around with their girls, 5 gold chains, 10,000 tattoos.
They don't have the business mind like you do, Mike.
If you want to be, if you're
business mind, I got $5 fucking on me, Birdie. What are you fucking talking about? And a slot rag dollar.
There's a 20 in there.
Business mind. I'm
still have the business mind to make money, you know. You had the idea.
They got the motherfuckers money. Okay.
All right, predictions.
Yeah, predictions for me. I'm going to give it to you right now, okay? Tyson Fury stoppage in the 9th round. However, if I'm a gambler man, if I can get a knockout from the 9th round, like Jimmy talked about, to the 12th round for the right money, I would throw a couple of bucks on Wilder just in case he gets lucky. Because you know what they say? He's always got a puncher's chance. And he does. Birdman?
Well, you hit on a couple of good points about the COVID, about the maybe the you get
distractions,
the fame and fortune. You might not have the focus as much, and plus 220. I'd make a small wager on, like you said, for the knockout. I'd make a small wager on Deontay Wilder.
What? After he fired our best friend? You are a dirty
from a monetary, monetary standpoint.
He fired one of Birdie's best friends.
I'm just talking about from a monetary standpoint.
Birdie's ruthless. Jimmy, what do you think?
I'm not saying he's going to win.
I don't want to be yelled at, so I'm going to go Fury too. And I don't even know the other guy.
I would though. So yeah, Fury's entertaining. Let me tell you something, okay? I thoroughly enjoyed the first 2 fights. I expect nothing less for the third one. These guys, as much as we kind of been critical of Wilder a little bit, they put on a good show. Their game, heavyweight boxing. God knows boxing needs this for sure. Let's hope it's an epic one. I am the Hurricane for BADCATZ Sports Special Edition Tyson Fury 3. Coming up in about 20 minutes to 25 minutes, we got BADCATZ Sports coming out. That Rowdy Riley and Rude is supposed to be making entrance, so look out now.
Zebra Hot Bar Buffet.